Just watch some YouTube poop. That'll get your fix right away.
Yeah, YouTube poop loves it. Or loved it. I don't know if they're still making those, but
I don't know either.
I feel really old even mentioning YouTube poop.
This is a retro gaming podcast. We're old. We're three guys that play old games and feel older.
Three old guys who play games.
Yep, pretty much.
Die, monster! You don't belong in this world!
Welcome to the Cable Club. We're a retro video gaming podcast where three guys try to save Outworld from M. Bison, or something like that, and we're linking up to talk about the games we love. We're your hosts. I'm Steve.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Don.
And this is episode number 13.
That opening line, I gotta give it to you. That really describes my level of confusion this week. I'm not a fighting game player. I just want to put that at the top of the show.
I'm probably the best one here, and even then, I'm not even that great.
Where's your horn? This week's episode is a Colosseum between Mortal Kombat 3 and Super Street Fighter 2. So get ready to upload data from us to you on the Cable Club. Announcements. We hit our 50 subscriber goal, like we had said before. So our new sub goal is going to be 100 subs. I know that's a pretty big number, guys. What do you think about it?
I have some thoughts about it. 100 YouTube subs, we're saying. Or, there's some loopholes here. We can get 50 subs on any of the other platforms that we are on. So we're on pretty much every other podcast platform. So if listening on YouTube is not your preferred way to do it, check us out on Apple or Spotify or Iheart, or help me out, guys. There's more, right?
Amazon Music is what I listen
Audible.
to mine on. Yeah. Audible.
Basically everywhere. The way that the internet aggregates all these things and throws them out, like anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find us. So,
speaking of finding us, Don, I know you're excited to reveal what you've been working hard on.
Oh, well, as I think most of you listening probably know, our Discord is live. But if you don't know, our Discord is live. You can find the link in the description. We're making improvements, every week. We got a little community going on, about 20 or so people. And we've added a Slay the Spire channel, since there's a big appetite for Slay the Spire in our group. And there are also some spaces to hang out, some gaming couches where you could get together, play some games together, or backseat. I'd say we have something going on almost nightly, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
One of us is on doing something, whether it's playing Slay the Spire, Game of the Week, or something else. And we are a retro game podcast, but the games played on Discord do not necessarily have to be retro. Just looking to get a group of people together who can always find someone else to play with. So, yeah. Stop on in.
With Discord too, I went through all of our videos as well, and I put our Discord link in there. So any video you click on, you'll be able to see it.
You can find it anywhere. Oh, and it counts for the 50 subs, by the way. So we didn't quite finish our last thought, but if we end up with 50 subs on any other platform or 50 Discord members, we'll launch another bonus episode. Or 100 YouTube subs, whichever one comes first. So that's going to kind of be our ladder for these bonus episodes.
Heck yeah. I'm excited about the Discord. I've been posting in it. We got the meme channel.
Oh, yeah, the meme channel.
Oh, yeah. I've been having a little fun in that, too.
News, too.
Yep. News, question of the week. You can submit your Victory Road submissions on it. Like, the Discord is going to be really great for anybody that wants to get into the community.
We actually got some good submissions for some games.
It really is your Cable Club Central.
Yeah.
All right.
That being said, if you want to skip the next part, which is our news and our question of the week and all that jazz, and get right into the game talk, there should be timestamps below, or you can just slide to probably close to the 30-minute mark if you're listening on one of the audio platforms. But I highly suggest that you don't, because it's some of our better content.
Heck yeah.
But with that being said, let's hand it over to Dan for question of the week.
Alrighty. So, question of the week. What bad game had good music? So, I have an honorable mention here. And I don't know, maybe it's just this one track, but like that game, Immortal for the NES.
I knew that one was going to come up.
Yeah. So, that game is very like, it's very hard because it's very like trial and error. And you're going to die like a million times. So it's like, in my book, it's not really a good game. But,
wait a minute. Dying a million times makes it not a good game?
Well, no, but it's just like the game doesn't really tell you what to do. So it's like you could like just be walking and all of a sudden a floor trap gets you with no like indication of like it was coming.
It's not challenging, it's cheap.
It's like
they're two different words, yeah.
Like the Kaizo Mario stuff that's like...
Yeah.
No,
blocks
Kaizo
appearing.
Mario is challenging.
No, I'm talking about the stupid ones where you jump over a pit and there's an invisible block that you never knew about. It just...
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
You mean like Mario Maker stuff, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's a good analogy for it. It's kind of similar. But anyways, like there's the battle music in that game that is just like it's such a banger.
Yeah.
I can't even put it into words. But like just look up Immortal battle music on YouTube or something, and then it'll come right up.
We'll have to put a link below.
Yeah, maybe I will. But my actual pick, and you know, this is like probably a hot take because I actually really like this game, but I'm gonna pick Mega Man X6 because I know it's not really liked by the masses. But that, in my opinion, Mega Man X6 has the best music out of all the Mega Man X games.
That's...
Oh, I don't know about that.
No, it's so good. You got like Blaze Heatnix, you got Infinity Maginian, X vs. Zero's in that one too. I know it didn't originate from that one, but it is in there.
All right, since you are Mr. Mega Man X, I'm gonna let it slide. But I definitely have different.
I like the original X music. Probably the most.
I like X5 the most.
Hey, we all have different opinions.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I mean, first of all, Fated Battle is the first time. The first time Fated Battle shows up is in X5 too, and that opening theme is really gas. It's awesome.
Yeah. Now I know what you're saying, that it wasn't like accepted by the masses, I guess, but it's not our fault that the masses are weak gamers that can't play X6.
Yeah, because it's too hard.
It's
I guess.
so good.
Yeah, and I
is
even
it that
play
hard. I really don't feel like it's that hard.
Well, they don't like. I think it's like along the lines of like it's not like the levels are not really that great. Like you also have like the nightmare mechanic too, which I will agree that like some of the nightmare mechanics make the levels like annoying. Like they try to make it more challenging, but it's just more annoying. Like for example, there's Rainy Turtleoids level where if you get the nightmare in that level, like you can only see like a quarter of the screen a lot of the time because it's supposed to be like really dark, and that's I don't know, that's just annoying.
There are definitely complaints. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, Mega Man X6, it's a good game in my opinion, but that was my pick.
We'll spare you for now, Mega Man X6. We'll wait till you come up in one of our random episodes.
Or somebody could submit it.
Or somebody could submit it, yep.
Yeah, they could.
Steve, what you picking for your good game, bad music?
So, when we first started the podcast out, I put on our retro decks Dungeons and Dragons Warriors of the Eternal Sun for the Sega Genesis.
Yeah, you've told me about this.
And this game
showed me.
This game is awful. But I had Dan over here watching some gameplay video with me at one point, and the battle music came on, and we're sitting there going like, wow, this is actually pretty sweet, dude. This music's bumping, dude.
Yeah, you know what else was bumping was the world map music too.
Yeah, no, it's actually pretty good music, but the game is pretty terrible. So I hope we get it someday so we can get upset with it, but also love it at the same time.
Laugh at it, yeah.
It's like your children.
Ah.
What'd you pick, Don?
Well, I was going to pick Guitar Hero because I really hate it, but, I recognize it's not a bad game. It does have excellent music. You know what is really visceral for me right now is Sonic Heroes, just because we heard about that perhaps remake. That game has quite a few good songs. And in fact, there's a couple other Sonic games too, like Sonic 06, that have great soundtracks and great songs, but they are not great games. Like just janky controls, glitchy, just kind of all over the place. Yeah, I mean, you really could just go on Spotify and like load up a Sonic playlist, and you'll get some insanely good songs. But you'll just recognize that the games that they're from are just not good, especially in the grand scope. Another honorable mention is the Zelda games for the 3DO. I've never played them. They're all, from what I hear, really, really bad, but they all have pretty good music.
I think it's like one's Wand of Gamelon, one is Zelda's Quest or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the last one I think is like, I don't know, the Hand of Doom or some stupid like that. I can't remember the last one.
Yeah, it's and they all have these really like trippy cutscenes, and like they're all just like weird, but the music is really good, even though everything else is terrible.
I wonder what Ganon's up to. Yeah. I'm so hungry I could eat an Octorok.
Give me the book or you will die.
Excuse me, princess.
Oh, now that's from the animated series. Is
that something different?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the show.
It is.
Oh.
But the 3DO games are done in a similar style to the show. Yeah. But there's like some weird acid trippy stuff going on.
Your ship sails in the morning.
Yeah. I mean, you really got to look up some of the footage to believe that it's there. I mean, Zelda always kind of airs on the wacky side, right? But
just watch some YouTube poop. That'll get your fix right away.
Yeah, YouTube poop loves it. Or loved it. I don't know if they're still making those, but
I don't know either.
I feel really old even mentioning YouTube poop.
This is a retro gaming podcast. We're old. We're three guys that play old games and feel older.
Three old guys who play games.
Yep, pretty much.
I found some Facebook groups lately that are like retro gamers (parentheses over 30). Like, oh man,
they have to separate from Gen Z.
Yeah,
I guess so. No kids allowed. You got to be of legal drinking age to get into this group. You're out of here.
Yeah, it's a serious business.
In fact, you have to be like married and divorced once to get into this group.
That's what they say about. I'm an electrician, by the way. For anybody that doesn't know, listening, that's what they say about a journeyman in my area. You can only become a journeyman if you've had a divorce. It's just like a requirement.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it damn near feels that way.
So that's our opinion. We did have a couple of you answer the question of the week this time, so we'll get to some of your answers. Tom says, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest is an aggressively mediocre game, but it has a really great soundtrack.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
Yep.
Same.
I actually gave it a listen. I gave all these suggestions a listen just to kind of see. I think it's similar to Final Fantasy Fair. You might come across. We all know that series has great music.
Yeah, the battle music in Mystic Quest was awesome. It's a banger.
It definitely has some. That series definitely does have some missed games though, like Crystal Chronicles. That one's bad too, right?
No,
it's like a weird ARPG one, right?
The mechanic was weird in that.
Listen, if you were to play Crystal Chronicles, there's only like you can't play it 2-player. That becomes a problem.
Why is that?
If you play one
the whole
player,
point was to play it 2-player.
Let me finish. The whole thing about playing one player is you get a Moogle slave that'll carry your chalice around for
Oh,
you.
yeah.
So like you get to just play the game uninhibited or whatever. There's like nothing stopping you from whatever. If you play two people, now you have to take turns carrying this chalice around. So somebody gets to fight, and then somebody has to carry the chalice, and then you take turns or whatever.
Yeah.
If
That's
that's
how
not
I
great.
remember it. That's
But if
how
you
I
play
remember it.
three or more, then it's a lot less carrying the chalice and a lot more of being able to fight because you take turns in three ways. Like it's better than two ways. So
Unless
three
you
or
have
four
that
players, good.
unless you have that one friend you just don't like. He's just the the chalice carrier.
Huck says that he doesn't play bad games, but Command and Conquer, which hasn't held up well, has apparently a great soundtrack.
It does. It does. If Hux, you're listening out there, Hell March. It's a good theme. He'll know what I'm talking about.
Windguard says Zelda 2. That's Link's Quest. Is that it? Link's Adventure.
The Adventure of Link.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. They particularly like the temple theme, and I think it's a controversial pick because apparently some people actually like Zelda 2 and want to see occasionally another Zelda of that format. But
I don't think there's anything inherently terrible about it. Like it's not great, but
it's hard. Like
but
if you're not
fun.
used to it. It was fun. I remember me and you, Steve, we went through that game on one weekend.
And every time we die, Ganon's just like rah, 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 rah.
Yeah. So it actually shows you like how many. It's either deaths or continues. I can't remember which. But when you beat the
It's
game,
probably deaths because Zelda always like shows your deaths on the title screen and stuff.
Yeah. So when you beat the game, it actually shows you like how many times you've died. And I think we had like it was either 100 or 200 deaths.
Yeah, we died a lot.
Yeah.
Tough game.
And then finally, the last answer, although I think this was technically a submission for our Victory Road, but it ended up in the wrong channel, so I'm going to take it, is Simon's Quest, which I also would agree, and is pretty well known to be an incomplete game when it was created. Therefore, I think it falls into the bad category, but that's also controversial.
Yeah.
But I also would agree it has music that I think defines the Castlevania genre.
Yep. Like Bloody Tears, I think.
Yeah.
Isn't that where like it first originated?
Yeah, Daytime music, first appearance.
When somebody says Castlevania, I hear that song first. That is the song that comes to my head first. That like
I actually
it's awesome.
Yeah. I actually like the town music too, like the town you start in. Like I really
For me, Castlevania is I don't know. The music, like I haven't played a Castlevania game with bad music.
Yeah.
I think it's some of the best. I think we can all agree I think it probably should be in most people's top 5 for game music of all time, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue that.
Me either.
Is that all the questions?
That's it.
Nice.
Great lineup. Having a Discord community is wonderful. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Let's get into gaming news. I know I usually handle the news headlines, but this first headline that we have is so big and so important to Steve that I'm going to let him take it first.
All right, well, they just announced the Slay the Spire 2, like literally like 2 days ago.
Oh boy.
And
I am so excited.
Steve broke this news before major news outlets broke it. Just so you know, selling point for our Discord here. Steve had that thing up, and I went and looked at it. The video was posted 2 minutes ago when Steve posted it. He was right on it. So,
wow.
You know,
impressive.
This another great gaming news at the Cable Club Podcast Discord.
No, Slay the Spire has been a big part of my life the last like 4 or 5 years. It's something I've always gone back to. and them announcing just a little teaser trailer for the beta for next year is really exciting for me. I think they've shown 3 characters, and we don't know much more about that. But they have, like, if you played the game, Ironclad, Silent, and now a new one, like Necromaster or something like that. But really excited. The the trailer is done like a little cartoony, and they release some screenshots. But if you're into roguelikes and deck builders, then and you haven't heard of Slay the Spire, then you really should check it out. It's only like $10 or whatever. But I've gotten thousands of hours of playtime on it.
Yeah,
For
literally.
me, and I
yes.
think many others, yeah, like it really kind of launched roguelikes for them as gamers. I know the original rogue-like game is Rogue, hence the name. But yeah, I think Slay the Spire really had a hand in popularizing that genre. Can you believe it was released 7 years ago?
I thought it was
Yeah,
so
that-
crazy. Yeah.
That's when I remember playing it, and you guys are still playing it pretty heavily today. That's pretty impressive. I actually
it's come and
downloaded it
gone.
again,
Yeah,
and my favorite character to use is definitely the Silent. I think the Silent.
don't worry, that'll change.
Why are they not good in like the Ascension levels?
You'll find out.
In my opinion, that's the most difficult class.
I just like how fast it is and how many attacks you can get out.
Yeah.
It's like the dopamine hit.
It's really great on the phone. But anyway, we're not here to advertise Slay the Spire 1, but yeah, Slay the Spire 2. I'm pretty excited. Hopefully hopefully it keeps the bones of the original experience intact and just adds some things. I don't know
looks
what
like it.
what you could add, because it's like almost a perfect game already. It's
Well, some
very
of the
good.
screenshots have new cards.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and new enemies, but I think new events and stuff. Like, I think that it's going to feel a lot like Slay the Spire. I don't think it's going to stray very far away from the screenshot of the gameplay. It looks almost the same. It just looks cleaner. So I think it'll be very close.
Our next headline is an early release of the Amazon Prime series for Fallout. And, I think that video game TV is suddenly having a sort of advent, basically, with, some of the gaming movies that have come out, but series like Twisted Metal, if you haven't seen it.
Halo.
Pretty great.
Halo
is also on Prime. And when do we ever get something early these days? I feel like everything is just delay. But they've announced that this show is going to launch early. In fact, the Fallout series adaptation already premiered on April 10th, which is 2 days ago.
Well,
so great. It's very early. Way too early for me.
Yeah, you guys are going to get the notification a whole week later.
Right? So, yeah. Fallout's never really been my cup of tea. Have you guys played the Fallout games at all? Does this interest you?
No, unfortunately, no. I haven't really played too much Fallout.
I've only played a little bit of the first one. It was a while back, but I would say that generally, like, third person and like shooter type first person games, all those kinds of stuff, they're just not really my forte. I'll play them, but I don't actively seek them out.
When you say first one, which one exactly? Is that like a first person shooter one?
Fallout on the 360.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's Fallout 3. I think I
was going to say they're usually third person, right?
I think Fallout 1 and 2 are like isometric views.
I'm
are. Pretty sure.
Oh, yeah. I didn't play those.
Yeah.
And they're more story based. Like they're really like heavy tabletop role play, like where like your character's like intelligence and charisma and all that other crap matters, not just their, combat stats. Like people do like stupid runs where like they don't put anything in intelligence at all, and they like other characters like talk down to them and everything too. Like,
It's probably similar to Baldur's Gate, if I had to imagine, the first 2 games.
probably.
The NPCs just know that you're stupid.
And like you can't respond in intelligent ways. Like the choices you get for dialogue are like dumber. Like it's just you can't get things accomplished in the same way.
That's
You can
clever.
be
I like
the
that.
Palooka Fallout player.
Yeah, I saw a trailer for the show when I was at the movie theater last week. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm sure people are excited for it, especially the hardcore Fallout fans.
Sometimes I like when I haven't really played the source material and I go watch the show, so I'm not like super invested in what they did and didn't do in the show, and I can just kind of enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, like the complete miss on Sonic when he's in the movie where he's snowboarding down the mountain and you don't get Ice Cap Zone. Come on.
Everybody knows Knuckles was in Sonic 3, not Sonic 2. Okay? Knuckles should not have been in the second Sonic movie. What is going on here?
Unbelievable.
So
People
wrong.
don't know that retro video game history.
Our last headline is kind of exciting. Bandai Namco released 3 free games in the last week of March, and I went and checked them out on Steam myself. They are indeed free. You can go get them. They're 3D platformers, which is pretty cool. A little harken back to the N64 era. One of them is puzzle-based, too, which is kind of neat.
Was that the robot one?
Yes. Yep.
It looks the best of the 3, in my opinion.
What are the
I
names of the game?
like the boomerang looking one.
Yeah, that one looks really good too. And then the last one's like Splatoon meets Nintendogs. It's all about making things as muddy as possible.
Yeah, and we'll leave a link in the description to the article here, so you can find them. But the 3 games are called Not a Lot, Duranko Wanko, and Boomer Road. Boomer Road is the one that I think looks the most appealing.
You can only
of
play it
course.
if you're like 45 or up.
Yeah. Only boomers only.
Boomer Road. It's like a weird anime character throwing a boomerang.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the grinding levels on like Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
Boomer Road?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it looks fun.
They're free. You might as well check them out, right?
Yeah, and they all have an overwhelmingly positive rating, by the way.
You know what else
they
is
are
free?
being received well.
Our Discord's free.
It definitely is.
Easy.
Get in here. Or should I say, get over here.
Yeah, I might check them out. Definitely like 2 of them. The dog one, the Splatoon Nintendogs one, not as exciting for me, but if I have some
I'll
free
definitely
time.
check them out. I mean, why not? Free?
Worth noting, Bandai Namco released Elden Ring. If you like that. If you didn't know that they were the developer, you know now. So,
Ooh.
Trustworthy source. Free games coming from a trustworthy source.
Free's free.
What a time to be alive. You guys ready to step into the Colosseum?
I think so.
All right, so our Colosseum episode, for those of you who don't know, who maybe this is your first Colosseum episode, we are going to use the 5 categories that we always go by: presentation, gameplay, pacing, playability, and X Factor. Name still pending on that category. It's kind of a running joke now that we haven't renamed this category. But here we are, still with X Factor. We'll explain the rules of each category as we go, but essentially we're going to discuss these 2 games, Street Fighter, Super Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat 3, both in context of the categories, and then we are going to vote on them one way or another at the end of each discussion. And then at the end of a final tally, whichever game takes the most categories wins it all in this Colosseum.
Winner takes all.
All the marbles.
So
All
for
the marbles.
overviews, Just to give you kind of some background, these are both fighting games. They're big boy fighting games. These aren't like your Smash Brothers here. This is
No,
like the real
especially
deal
Mortal Kombat.
fighting games. Two guys square off in a small ring and, do complex button inputs to beat each other up.
Yep.
Super Street Fighter was iterated on 7 times, though the iteration that we're playing was released in 1993. Mortal Kombat 3 has at least one iteration, to my knowledge, on the same system, which is Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, which shows how ignorant I am when I come up with these matchups, because I would have picked that one and not regular Mortal Kombat 3.
Yeah.
But hey, this is why we have a Discord, so we can be told how ignorant we are and make better content, right? So anyway, Mortal Kombat 3 was released in 1995.
Yep. And then it was released in 1995 on the arcade in April, and then it was released on other systems in October of 1995.
Mm-hmm. Much to the chagrin of parents everywhere.
Yeah, all kinds of media attention.
Just, it's a lesson in bad news is still news. So our first category is presentation. Who wants to start us off in the presentation of these two games? And in presentation, we're talking about graphics, sound, basically anything that meets the senses right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, I can start us off. I'm going to start with Mortal Kombat 3. So, I don't know. Again, this might be a hot take, and I'm probably in the minority on this one, but I actually think the graphics are actually pretty good. I know a lot of people might not like that stance, but I actually think for its time, that was super innovative. So you got to think. They had to grab real life people for this. All the costumes.
Yeah, there's actual credits. Like if you manage to beat it, you can see the credits and the actors' names. Yeah.
So they had to make all the costumes, all the moves that you see, by frame, they actually had to do what is it, stop and go frame? I'm not sure what you call it, but
motion capture.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, everything you see, those are real life people. So when you're playing the game, those are actual real life people. And I don't know, that to me, that's amazing. Especially, they started doing this in 1991 or 2 with the first Mortal Kombat. Nothing short of amazing to me.
I don't know. It held up like milk, and they didn't do it again.
Yeah, maybe, but
they did it for 3 games.
Yeah,
yeah.
And then if
they also did it for the Batman Forever game that came out later too. That's really bad.
I gotta check that out.
No, you don't.
There's an Arkham game, I think, or maybe that's that game.
It is that one.
Okay, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously for graphics, you have that. And then this is a little bit on the gory side too. So when Mortal Kombat first came out, it was in the newspapers that this game's just not for kids, or they shouldn't be playing this game because it's actually pretty gory. So when you just tap somebody with a punch, and you just got a pints of blood spilling out of them, and not to mention the fatalities where it's you rip out people's spines or chopping their heads off with a razor hat.
Or spin them like a Beyblade with your really long hair, and they spin them so fast that their skin peels off. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It really was something of the time.
Yeah. But now you have iconic characters even today, with the ninjas, Sub-Zero, Scorpion,
which
Reptile.
were recolors due to budget originally.
It's not in this one.
Yeah, well, no, he's not, but he's in the Ultimate version, right? So if we had played the Ultimate Mortal Kombat, he would have been in there. So.
Yeah. But, and then I don't know, Street Fighter 2, that's kind of cartoony, what they were going for.
It definitely is its own vibe. It's definitely more colorful. I think that pixel art in general is definitely superior to that realistic motion cap art. However, if we were talking about Street Fighter Alpha 3, which has some of the most gorgeous pixel art I think ever produced. This would be no contest, but we're not. We're talking about Street Fighter 2, and you can tell like the designs are a little bit stiff and a little bit, primitive, especially because for a lot of these characters, this was their debut. Like,
Yeah.
there was a Street Fighter 1. I think it's much, much lesser known. I think most people would consider Street Fighter 2 to be their first Street Fighter experience.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it shows a little bit. It's definitely a different vibe altogether from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it is. Like, I played like a couple versions of Street Fighter 2. I know we're going with like Super Street Fighter 2, but like they actually like upgraded like the color scheme in Super Street Fighter 2. It's just like a lot more visually pleasing, and then like the colors are just more vibrant.
Oh, you mean as opposed to the Street Fighter 2 Special Championship Edition for Genesis?
Yeah, because I've noticed that.
But the sound in the Special Championship Edition, in my opinion, is better. The music is better.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with like Guile's theme, Ken's theme, Ryu's theme. Like, these are all like really good themes. Like, I even listen to them. Like, I mean, I like Street Fighter, but like, I sometimes I'll go out of my way to listen to them. They're just that good.
Yeah, and I went out of my way to listen to the Mortal Kombat tracks this week, and I really can't really think of one that really is up to that level. Like, there's the rooftop track where you can see Shao Kahn's castle in the background. There's the battle music against Shao Kahn, which happens in his palace, that are like pretty good, but like the rest of it is just not my particular vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I do like Mortal Kombat's music, but it's just not as memorable as like the juggernauts of like Ken's and Guile's theme.
And no, before anybody asks, the Mortal Kombat song is not in the game. It never was. I don't know why. It still isn't today. They really ought to just, get that.
I think that was movie only.
Yeah.
It's owned by Fox or whoever made the movie, and now
come on, they can buy those rights these days. Let's go.
Well, now Disney owns Fox, so if that's who made it, I can't remember, but Disney doesn't let go of anything.
Yeah, guess not. It's trapped now. We'll never get our way.
Oh man.
As far as like the presentation goes for me, I thought that they both did really well visually. If you put yourself back in the 90s, that like real live looking people was so cool. Like,
it was state of the art back then. Like, believe it or not, like if you look at it now, you're like, oh my god, that looks like crap. But like back then, that was like
looking at it now.
But like, it was state of the art back then. It really was.
And it's I think there's a lot more going on with the characters in Mortal Kombat as a result. Like, it feels like they have more frames. They do more stuff. Like, the fatalities is just something that just doesn't exist in Street Fighter 2. So that's a whole mess of sprites and details that just don't exist. There's not just fatalities with the characters, but there's stage fatalities. There's like punching people up to different levels of stages. So there's other stuff to look at. Like, in my opinion, there's probably about equal amount of stuff going on in the background in both games.
Yeah.
Although sometimes the Mortal Kombat levels are like just a JPEG that's in like the background that you're kind of panning across. I'm thinking of one with like the big portal in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crappy.
Hey, some of those JPEGs can kill you. They got like spikes on the ceiling that you can uppercut them into.
Yeah.
They're scary.
It's funny how they cobbled it together. But yeah.
So, scoring?
Well, hold on. I think I want to stay here for 1 second. Just because, like, I think with Street Fighter, each character kind of has this identity, and they all look very different from one another. I don't think all the Mortal Kombat characters look very different from one another. Like, for instance,
really?
those two ninjas, those two like cyber ninjas, they're like the same character, just different colors. Like, and Mortal Kombat as a series, I can't take the entire series and like.
Whoa!
hold
Well,
three
you got
accountable.
Ryu
Hang
and
on.
Ken.
Yeah, I was about to say. What about Ryu and Ken?
They look different. I mean, they have different color geese, but Ken's got long hair. He's like easily distinguishable, right?
But
He
like,
doesn't have the headband. Like,
yeah, I mean, I guess I was gonna say something, but I'll save it for gameplay.
oh well, if you're going down the road, I think you're going down. I think you're going to lose this. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, so voting wise, I'm probably going to give it to Mortal Kombat. I do think it looks a little bit better than Street Fighter 2. If we were playing another fighting game, another iteration of Street Fighter, like I said, that has pixel art, or like for instance Marvel vs. Capcom 2, right, with that pixel art,
Such a good looking
like,
game.
Yeah, it is.
I would say pixel art in general looks better than what Mortal Kombat did, but I don't think Street Fighter 2's pixel art looks better than what Mortal Kombat did. So I'm going to go with Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. I'm going to go in the same boat with this one. I'm picking Mortal Kombat 3. It's just like, I don't know. It's just like the graphics then, like, to me, I remember playing these as a kid, and it was just something magical about it. Like, even just that alone, like, just gets my vote. But, with all the other things too. But, like, just that graphics is just icing on the cake.
I can't believe your parents let you play this
I
game
know.
as a kid.
My dad was a bad influence.
I played it too, so I also went with Mortal Kombat 3 on this one. I just feel like they did good with what they had done, and like for the time, you'd see the special effects and you'd see the different moves and all that stuff, and like to kind of make it look close enough to the real people look that they had, I think it was pretty impressive.
The music wasn't enough to sway you guys, huh? That's because I think the Super Street Fighter music is worse than the tournament, the Special Championship Edition.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound as good. They definitely sacked some of the music files for a graphical update and more characters.
Yeah. I mean, the music, like Ken's theme, for instance, is so good. But like, I wouldn't blame anybody for picking this category just on that. It's so
on
good.
The music.
Yeah.
All right, gameplay. I'll start this one. I just want to sling some mud to start off. Okay.
Well, or blood.
Yeah. Let's go with blood. I think that it is positively criminal for all of the characters in Mortal Kombat to have the same basic movesets. Now, hold on, I know that they all have combos with a K with like complicated button inputs, which are different from specials. Specials are something else. Combos that like where they hit high low and they do the like rapid movement, right? And that is the meta. If you watch high level gameplay, people are using those combos. But if you pick up this game like we did, and we're all bad, like the characters do not feel unique from one another, and that is a huge problem for me.
Yeah, no, he is right on that. So in Mortal Kombat 3, you have like your high punch, your low punch, high kick, and low kick, and every single character has the exact same thing. Like, it doesn't even look different.
Right. So in Street Fighter, you have light, medium, heavy punch, light, medium, heavy kick, but E Honda's light, medium, heavy punches are different from Guile's light, medium, heavy punch. But in Mortal Kombat, like Sindel's high punch is the same as Sub-Zero's high punch is the same as Jack's high punch.
Yeah.
It's like crazy to me how there's no character identity in the basic like movesets.
Yeah, so if you don't know the special moves, it doesn't really matter who you pick. But like, yeah, I mean, as far as like special moves go, that's where like character identity comes from for, Mortal Kombat 3. And some of them are like pretty iconic too. Like, like Sub-Zero, for instance, has like his freeze ball. If you pick Shiva, she's got that move where she jumps up off screen and then lands on top of you and stomps on you.
Well, sure, but so doesn't Street Fighter. I mean, Street Fighter, all of the characters have their own special
Yeah.
moves. You know,
Oh, absolutely.
Blanca does the electricity, and Ryu and Ken use the same moves basically, but there's some slight variations on Shoryukens and Hadoukens. And it's like Zangief has different grapples, and Blanca has the electricity, and it's all different stuff. So, Mortal Kombat has the special moves, but Street Fighter has the special moves too.
Yeah, they do.
Although Street Fighter doesn't have the combos with a K or running. The Mortal Kombat 3 characters can run. And if you
they
watch,
may not have combos, but I didn't know if you knew they have confirmed combo hits. Like, I don't know them off the top of my head, but there are moves that automatically combo together. So they do kind of have that combo system.
But not like this. Like, this is quite a bit different. I don't know if you actually looked at it or looked it up, but there's actual move lists of combos where I mean, you've seen brutalities, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And you see like how fast they move. There's like the quick like burst of like 3 or 4 hits in like
Liu Kang has a double kick that he does. He like kicks once and then once a little bit higher, like real fast, stuff like that.
Yeah, or like rapid punches into uppercuts and like there's like a bunch of stuff going on with that. So actually, the high level Mortal Kombat gameplay looks vicious. Like when you watch it, and like you get 2 people who are really good at it, the gameplay looks really fun. I just can't do it.
Yeah, me neither. I think though it's like it looks more impressive than it actually is when because those combos that they're doing, I don't think they're like very intuitive, because I think it's like you dash into them and then you press like 2 or 3 buttons and they just do that whole combo string that looks like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, the combos are kind of like special moves of their own. They're just their own category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like the amount of hits that they do don't even like match the buttons, because I think you press like 3 buttons and they're hitting the guy like 5-6 times.
But there's like a little bit of juggling too. Like you can get like from full to dead in Mortal Kombat pretty easily.
Yeah,
and
some of the
Street
characters
Fighter,
have
it's not that easy.
Some of those, it's not balanced at all. I think.
Yeah, I'm so bad at these games that I had to resort to just research these past couple weeks. I played Mortal Kombat for 4 hours and I could not get past like the 5th fight, and I was like, I can't play this game enough to talk about it. I have to go watch videos.
Yeah,
it's like both of the games though. It just feels like the computers know what you're doing. I was like, just as an example,
they do. That is something that is absolutely known.
Bison has this sliding attack where he like slides at you, and I was getting uppercutted out of it. Like no human is gonna know. Like no human has that reaction speed. Maybe top level, but
you jump kick, and by the time you already like are ascending in the air, they've already jumped above you and are kicking you, like
or using an anti-air.
Yeah,
to get you out of the air.
They also ignore iframes. Like if you play against another player, like I experienced this. Oh, who did you guys main?
In which game?
In Street Fighter, both, I guess.
I wanted to main Ken, but like I just couldn't. I don't know. He just wasn't working for me. So I think I started playing Chun-Li the most, because I don't know, that move where she jumps above and like does like that head stomp and then like jumps backwards. Like it's so good.
Yeah, I ended up maining Ryu. And
Bison.
Yeah, so Ryu does that spin kick, right? I forget what it's called.
Tatsumen Senpui kick.
Yeah, that one. Instant ramen kick. Okay. So he during the beginning of that move, for his like first spin, there's iframes in it, so you can use it to dodge fireballs or use it to get out of the corner if someone is like on you. The computers do not respect those iframes at all. And I looked at forums, And they were like, yeah, computers just ignore iframes. They also ignore priority on occasion.
Wow.
Like hit you with a light jab when you're using like a ranged, like a long range move like Vega's Claw kind of crap. It's so crazy to me how different the experience of actually playing the game against the computers is from playing against a player in these.
Yeah, I put that down in my show notes too, that like the main meat of this game is going to be player versus player, because the computer player interaction is just not fair, and it's really not that much fun either.
Yeah.
Like,
it makes it for, I think Mortal Kombat's worse.
It's definitely worse.
But I think it makes the games hard to call playable these days. Because modern fighting games, for one, have practice modes, so you can just beat up on a dummy and practice your combos and stuff. There is no practice mode in either of these games.
Yeah.
Like,
and in Mortal Kombat 3 especially, like they don't give you time to breathe at all. Like as soon as the announcer says fight, they're already comboing you for like 50% of your health.
They are on you.
This is so much fun getting punched.
I actually watched a video. If you like fighting game content, check out this guy on YouTube, Justin Wong. He's a really like prominent figure in the fighting game community. He went to a tournament and he just brought like the straight up base like Shao Kahn boss and was offering people $100 if they could beat him. And like the amount of people he went through at this fighting game tournament, this is what people are here for. All probably around our age, so they grew up with these games. They could not beat him for like quite a few contestants there.
Isn't Justin Wong like one of the greatest Street Fighter players of all time?
I think so.
He's up there, yeah.
Yeah.
This is how much I know about the entire fighting game genre and scene.
He has
but
that,
yeah,
like,
my understanding is he's really up there.
Yeah, there's a video where like I don't know which Street Fighter game it is, but there's a person who's playing Chun-Li and they unleash their like.
Oh yeah, it's him. He's the one who got Daigo parried.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know about him a little bit.
The greatest esports moment in history.
Yeah, I know that video you guys are talking about.
No, but yeah, so just kind of speaks to how insane these games actually are. And like, forget about Akuma, right? Like, I was nowhere near good enough to make it to Akuma, but I've seen enough. I don't think he's as bad as Shao, but Akuma's pretty ridiculous too.
Yeah, I mean, Mortal Kombat 3 also has like those special characters too that you can't pick. Like I know Cyber Smoke is one of those special characters that you can run into, and he's just got enhanced stats too.
You're just gonna have to nickname him Vape.
Pretty
Smoke
much.
And Vape, yeah. It's now canon.
Cyber Smoke.
Yeah.
Vape.
Not the Ninja Smoke, the Cyber Smoke.
There's a whole story with that. We'll get into that in pacing. But yeah. But so we actually got to play games together, which was pretty great. We beat the snot out of each other in these games. Dan is easily probably the best fighting game player out of all of us. Although I had a better record against him in Street Fighter than I did.
Not by much.
Yeah. But I think I enjoyed playing Street Fighter against you guys a lot more than I enjoyed Mortal Kombat.
Oh, come on. Mortal Kombat 3 was awesome.
So I'm going to give gameplay to Street Fighter before I get in an argument with Dan right now.
Yeah. So, it was obvious that, they don't really play Mortal Kombat, because I played Mortal Kombat a bunch as a kid, so I already knew like a lot of the moves. So like I obviously had the better record, but like I don't know. I actually had more fun, like Don said, with Street Fighter 2. Even though I was not as good at the game, it just felt more fair, I guess is the word for it. Everything just seems to mix well when you fight in that game. So I'm actually going to give my vote to Street Fighter 2 on this one as well.
Yeah, for me, I did have fun playing both games against you guys. But I just felt a little bit more comfortable on Street Fighter 2 overall. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it very well. But just something about Street Fighter, even though I didn't own any fighting games really as a kid, there's something just about Street Fighter that just feels good. So I don't have like an inherent bias because I didn't own either of them, but I had more fun playing Street Fighter against you guys than Mortal
Right.
Kombat. It's probably because, playing, not saying it's a large part of it, but playing Mortal Kombat against Dan over here, knowing all the special moves, didn't feel very fun.
Yeah.
I don't know, you
But-
still beat him a good amount of the time. I watched. He knew the special moves, but he scrubbed out.
But, I'm going with Street Fighter 2 as well on the gameplay.
Yeah. I mean, something I'd like to add too is like I couldn't, in good faith, give it to Mortal Kombat when that CPU, no matter like the difficulty you put it on, and they still like rock you. It's just so bad.
This difficulty theme is going to be an elephant in the room for our next category, at least from my point about it,
Yeah.
which is pacing. So pacing is the category we use to describe how the game flows. Flows could talk about level design if the game overstays or understays its welcome. Could also talk about difficulty and difficulty spikes, or in this case, a difficulty wall that as you start your journey, you just stare up at a wall and wonder how you're supposed to climb this thing without any tools.
Yeah, it's exactly like like the towers you're supposed to pick in Mortal Kombat, like where it shows like all the
Yeah.
characters. You're literally on the bottom, and that's where you're staying. Like you're not climbing that.
Yeah, Street Fighter, I beat it on the like middle difficulty, like whatever difficulty it's defaulted on, so normal. But there's actually like 8 stars, so you can go up to 8 stars. I beat it on that with a lot of struggling, but eventually I beat it. You have unlimited continues, and I was able to study up a little bit and learn some things and get better, and felt myself getting better because I had unlimited continues. Mortal Kombat, I just got like bodied over and over and over again by
It's
like
like
the
that
first
Drowning
fight.
Pool song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like I had to resort to like camping the computer basically and like spacing tactics, and I was able to make it to like the third fight, but again, just like getting bodied over and over again.
Yeah, they all.
It's so crazy.
If you think that's bad, like it's hard in the beginning, like those first couple characters, but like the difficulty actually gets worse as the higher you climb.
Well,
That's how-
as it should, right? But
Yeah.
like you can turn Street Fighter's difficulty down and you can feel it. So for the gameplay video that we're going to have up, or that you might be watching already, I turned it down to 2 so I didn't look totally awful while playing Street Fighter. And like you still see they're decent, or it looks like decent matches, right? Like Mortal Kombat, I turned it on easy and took the novice path and was still getting bodied by the first
I
first fight. Like it
I
doesn't
swear
seem to
to
do
God,
anything.
I was gonna say that I don't think the difficulty slider does anything at all.
Yeah, I don't think it does. Not a thing.
Because I
Give you
turned
false hope.
it on very easy and I didn't notice a difference. Like I was still getting comboed
Yeah.
like crazy.
I just want to play the game.
And it's like, I know some of the moves, but it's like, it's been a long time since I played Mortal Kombat 3, so it's like, I need a second to, like, remember these moves, and they just don't give it to you.
And
Listen,
without
Outworld
and
doesn't
yeah.
participate in they don't give participation trophies in Outworld.
They
need
want
to
that
actually
Earthrealm.
be there to fight.
They want-
Earthrealm.
They want Earthrealm, and they're going to take it.
yeah, and it's interesting because there is a story in Mortal Kombat. There really isn't in Street Fighter. I even checked the manual. There's no.
But they both
no
have
story.
movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. But the Mortal Kombat 3 is the culmination of Shao Kahn basically getting fed up after plotting to take Earthrealm for 10,000 years and losing the tournament over and over again. That he just decides to invade it anyway. It's like some subplot that his wife died and his priest can revive his wife, but only in Earthrealm, so he has to take over Earthrealm to go there. But yeah,
they're
is
giving a
some
sob story
going
for
on.
the bad guy.
Well,
Yeah, no, he's
So-
a grade A-hole.
yeah, so, like, it's a little confusing how the story is. So basically, the first 2 Mortal Kombats is actually, like, a tournament-based style, where, Earthrealm versus the Shadow Realm. And then Earthrealm obviously wins the first 2 tournaments. And as Don said, Shao Kahn just gets fed up with it in the third game. And so, he actually dies in the second game. And he gets revived by Sindel, which is actually Katana's mother. And Katana's actually, like, on the good side of Shadow Realm. And I guess, like, Sindel got, like, possessed or something. So now she's, like, the bride of Shao Kahn. And it ends up reviving Shao Kahn. And instead of doing a tournament, he just straight up tries to invade Earthrealm, and then that's basically how the game is.
Turns out Sindel was always bad. She helped kill her husband. Anyway, yeah. What's funny about the whole story is that, like, in later Mortal Kombats, you see that, like, certain characters are on the run from, like, the Yakuza and the mob, which means that despite their extraordinary hand-to-hand abilities, they're afraid of guns, right? With that logic in mind, and they're beating up the other denizens of Outworld, here on Earthrealm, we got a lot of guns. I don't think Shao Kahn wants what he's asking for. Like, guns, jets, nukes. I mean, they got spears and stuff in Outworld, or magic if you give them enough time. But I'm pretty sure Earthrealm would take Outworld pretty badly.
Yeah, Outworld is focused on, one-on-one combat. Humans have been fighting 1,000-people wars for a very long time.
Listen, we used to have to fight like saber-toothed tigers, okay? You can't one-on-one a saber-toothed tiger. You gang up on it. All's fair. You kill it and you eat it. There you go.
We have the industrial advantage.
Yeah. Humans actually suck by themselves with no weapons.
No. Listen, they won
it's
fair and
absolutely
square. They won fair and square against Outworld in single one-on-one hand-to-hand combat.
Yep, we did. And they have like weird creatures and four-armed people and stuff. But all this is to say that as far as pacing goes, Mortal Kombat does present a story, and it's in the game. You don't even have to read the manual for it. Whereas Street Fighter, whether you read the manual or not, Street Fighter 2 does not have a real story baked into it. There is a fighting tournament, and that's what it is.
But that's this game also. Street Fighter also has the bonus stages.
Yes, the story is you beat up somebody's car.
No. What I'm saying is there
Ken's
isn't
car.
a story pacing, but you can't completely discount Street Fighter 2 from pacing because there's gameplay pacing elements that also help it in this category.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just knocking it on that one detail of this category. The overall story itself, that Street Fighter doesn't have one. So,
right. Yeah, you'll have to watch the cartoon of the story.
But look, Street Fighter 2 is hard to begin with if you go into super mode and play, but the difficulty gets, I'd say, mostly gradually, like, not, outside of like matchup problems, because certain characters just do better against others, which is fine. But like, I'd say the difficulty remains pretty consistent and like, going up at a reasonable clip as you go through the fights. Whereas like Mortal Kombat is like just so hard from the beginning if you pick it up and you don't know anything.
Yeah, I feel like you can't win unless you know like AI jank or something, where it's like you trip up the AI. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. But Street Fighter's like gameplay lends itself to more of that like spacing type of combat, right? Like where you use fireballs and stuff. Yeah, footsies. Footsies would be the way to think about it. Yeah.
Aw, how cute.
Hey, that's actually fighting game terminology there.
Yeah.
It is. So, I don't know. Which way are you guys swinging for pacing here? Valid points on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up a good point with like the story, with Mortal Kombat 3 actually having one. I mean, and then Street Fighter 2 doesn't. But I don't know, man. I can't really, in good faith, like I said before, like you can't even play the game in Mortal Kombat 3 by yourself. It's literally impossible. I don't know how you can have any fun. You can't get better because they won't let you get better. You know what I mean?
There's also only 5 continues, so like if you reach a certain level, you're probably going to be out of some of your continues by the time you get there. But like you can't practice at that level. Whereas like Street Fighter, once you get to the harder levels, like you can keep going at it. Like
right. Yeah, that's another thing is continues. Yeah. And then the difficulty slider doesn't do jack, so it's like you can't even like get further because very easy is the same as very hard. So I'm actually going to go with Street Fighter 2 because you can actually, get places in this game by yourself.
Steve, what you got?
All right, so on pacing, I have to go with Street Fighter 2. The main reason that I did is because of those bonus stages that they sprinkle in. You know, whether it's beating up a car, bricks, barrels, flaming, or wooden, it's just a nice break from just straight up fighting all the time. Just like one-on-one fighting. So, you know, I know that there's story in Mortal Kombat, but, like, I'm not very interested. I'd say that gaming pacing, like on top of what Dan said, the bonus stages just help break up that one dimension really well. So I went with Street Fighter 2 on this one.
Street Fighter here for me as well. You guys pretty much touched on all the points that I feel. All right, playability. This one's one of my favorite categories. I like this one a lot. Funny story. You can play Street Fighter 2 on Switch. There's an Ultimate Super Street Fighter 2 that is available for Switch. It's also available on Steam, and there's a platform called Fightcade where you can find matchups for some of these retro fighting titles, Mortal Kombat included. Mortal Kombat Trilogy had like a teaser release for the Switch, or maybe not even a teaser, like maybe just rumors. Basically, I went like looking around for ports back in like 2018, but it never materialized. So as far as I know, Mortal Kombat 3 and even like Ultimate Mortal Kombat is difficult to play today with other people outside of this like Fightcade and RetroArch platforms and stuff. But it is available for PC on a platform called GOG now.
Yeah, because it used to be on Steam, and I actually had it, but for some reason, like Steam got rid of it, and it's like no longer playable.
So this Mortal Kombat Trilogy out there, which a lot of people hate in the scene, because I guess they changed the balance of it and made it worse, like with the elements that they added, and a lot of people view it as like a really soulless cash grab. So if you're going to play Mortal Kombat 3 competitively, Ultimate Mortal Kombat is your go-to, apparently. And again, not an easy game to play amongst other people these days. So in terms of like playability, actually playable, it seems to me that Street Fighter 2 is getting the better end of the stick right now.
Yeah, unless you're gonna go to the arcade.
But you could find either game in an arcade, right? Like there's if we're talking arcade, there's several more iterations of both games, I think, in the arcades.
Doesn't I think the one on Switch too for Street Fighter 2, I think you can play online on that too, versus other people. I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
I remember seeing a video of like someone playing Street Fighter 2 online, doing online matches. I don't know if it was for the Switch or not, but it was on some sort of console. And I'm not sure. I don't even think you could do that with Mortal Kombat 3 nowadays. You'd have to find like a buddy or something.
You can play online multiplayer on the Ultra Street Fighter 2. Ultra Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
It's kind of cool that people like Street Fighter 2 enough for them to release it on Switch and, not go for one of the other... Well, I'm sure the other iterations are available too. I just didn't look, but it's pretty neat.
I mean, especially in like nowadays where, we're basically fighting games, it's just always better to play like another player. So just to have access to the online community is huge, and especially for
that way I can get my butt kicked by even more people.
So,
yeah, but you'll get better.
I'm just. It was a joke.
That's another thing about playability. We've touched on it a lot. I don't think either of these games are particularly playable today, just because of the difficulty in it and no practice mode to kind of figure out yourself. So that kind of leaves, like, if you were to, be at a party amongst a bunch of mutual friends, and you were to say, let's break out a retro game and kick the crap out of each other, like, which game would you pop in? I feel like it's Street Fighter 2 because all the characters are somewhat unique without having to know the special moves, and you can have a good time with that. Whereas the Mortal Kombat characters is really going to look like, two people slap fighting without you knowing any of the moves, right? So, I mean, we all had more fun playing Street Fighter, and Dan's even familiar with Mortal Kombat. So I feel like just because of the way the game is designed, it feels to me that Street Fighter 2 is more playable in that sense as well. In
Yeah.
addition to being available on modern consoles.
I mean, like, going back to what you said, Don, with like if you're at a party, I would say Mortal Kombat 3 would be the better game for like the laugh factor and all that. If like button combinations were easier, like if you could just pull off like fatalities, like that'd be pretty funny to do to your friend like that's on the couch with you. But again, it's like you're not really gonna know how to do that if you're just playing it for the first time or whatnot.
Yeah, you didn't fatality us once, Dan.
Yeah, I don't know
played
any.
with you. Yeah.
So like, yeah, like just that alone, like it has the potential to be better in that aspect, but it's not, because people are not going to learn all these like long fatality lists, especially if you're just playing to have fun for like the first time.
So if you're playing Mortal Kombat on the cabinet, I think I remember like watching the you're a kid in the arcade, you don't have any money, and you're just like looking at the games and whatnot. And I think Mortal Kombat runs through like characters and tells you some of their fatalities on the playthrough screen or whatever, like trying to get you to play the game. They'll show you some button combinations for combos and things. But like I never memorized any of them. I didn't want to spend my quarters on that. I was much happier playing X-Men or playing The Simpsons and that kind of stuff. Raiden,
Ninja Turtles,
Yeah, because it was over so fast if you popped your quarters into Mortal Kombat. You fought that first computer and they just killed you. And they were like,
you might as well just pop your quarters in and walk away.
Yeah.
They didn't adjust it for the home console either. It's a travesty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate it when that happens. Like, I know there was this era of bring the arcade home, but when they ported games and they didn't do anything at all to change the arcade experience, like, it's so apparent and it's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. It's like, they are literally designed to eat your quarters at the arcade. It's to take your money. You're supposed to have a little bit better of a time at home because nobody wants to sit there and get their butt handed to them in Mortal Kombat on a rainy day. Like, they would much rather play Mario. Even more. Yeah, it's like, it's just, it's really just not good design, really.
I wonder how many controls were broken playing Mortal Kombat 3.
I almost broke one this week. I popped into the Discord to say I was playing it. Luckily, nobody joined me because I was BS.
Probably not as many as Smash has destroyed.
Yeah, that's not even because of you're mad. It's just the kind of game it is.
So yeah, for playability for me, it's Street Fighter.
Fair point. I think, I mean, I went back and forth on this one a little bit. Because if you actually do sit down and learn, like, say if you have two players that actually know how to play Mortal Kombat, it's actually pretty engaging. And then it's like, to throw salt in the wound, you can actually, do a fatality, which is, pretty funny. But at the end of the day, I just think it just works better in Street Fighter 2. Like, I just feel like the hits connect better and all that stuff, and it's just an overall better experience. Like, we all played these games together, and like we said, we just had more fun with Super Street Fighter 2, so that's my vote.
So, for me, I do enjoy the simplicity of, and like the whole, everybody has a similar moveset or the same moveset in Mortal Kombat. Like, it's nice that you don't have to learn how, 12 different characters fight. But the more that you play it, the more you can appreciate Street Fighter 2's approach with different movesets. So I'm not a big fighting game guy, and at first Mortal Kombat was easy to pick up any character and just play with them and learn their specials. But it wasn't a very wholesome experience like Street Fighter was. If you were going to play Street Fighter against the computers, it's also hard, but Mortal Kombat being the way that it is against the computers, it's just much worse. So, a couple points here and there for both of them, but overall, I think for me, Street Fighter 2 edges out in playability as well. I'm curious to see, would you guys' opinions change at all if it was only for multiplayer?
Uh, uh, Probably not. I feel like Street Fighter is like just the formula that Street Fighter has. It's just the feel of playing it. It just feels better, and it's really apparent. It's really apparent. Like when you go from one to the other, like right after the other, you can just tell.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty much echo chamber there. I maintain that Street Fighter 2 was much more playable, even multiplayer.
Yeah, I know that, I was only asking because if, Mortal Kombat, obviously the computer was like unplayable. I was just curious if maybe you guys had thought about if the opinions would change if it was strictly based on the versus mode.
Yeah, I mean, Mortal Kombat would definitely have more of a fighting chance for sure, but
Yeah.
it's still in Street Fighter's favor, I feel like.
Nice pun. Nice.
He's Pun Lee over here.
Pun Lee. Oh, it hurts. Stop it. X Factor is the category where we essentially get to talk about whatever we want, and we're still working on a name for it, but we're not going to talk about that right now. We don't want to talk about that. And you can vote essentially based on whatever. So, for instance, last time I voted for Streets of Rage simply because I love Streets of Rage and don't love Turtles in Time as much. So the category can be as petty as that. But there's 3 of us, so maybe 2 of us will be sensible about it.
I'll start
us off.
I'll start us off.
So, okay.
So I grew up with Mortal Kombat mainly as a kid because my father was like in love with that series, and so being his kid, obviously I was playing with him, and I don't know, it's just back then that how they use the graphics, to me, I still think that's amazing because nobody's ever like did that back then. It was just like, I don't know, they had an idea and they ran with it, and just not to knock like Super Street Fighter or anything, but I'm probably going to be a little biased here, but I'm actually going to give it to Mortal Kombat 3 on this category because it's just like, I don't know, if I had to pick a fighting world to say and like stay in it, it probably would be Mortal Kombat because I got like nostalgia for it.
Oh, that's your choice. So for me, as far as the X Factor on these 2 games is like, I want to kind of hit the cultural aspect a little bit because we hadn't really talked too much. We talked a little bit.
Stealing my thunder over here.
Oh, sorry, but So you look at Mortal Kombat 3 and you think about all the media attention that Mortal Kombat had gotten over the gore and the violence and all this. It's like, it was available in the arcade machine, and sure, it's supposed to be for mature audiences, but in an arcade, like, any kid could walk up and put a quarter in. So, it got all that gore and violence and media attention. Now, Street Fighter, I'm not sure if there was a whole lot of news about it or any backlash on it, but like, playing it now with the way that the culture of America is, like, it would almost seem offensive in some ways because all of these people are like extremely stereotypical versions of their race.
Funny enough, like E Honda's face paint is considered very, very offensive in the sumo community. I don't remember exactly why, but there's a really big problem with it.
Really?
Well, and the funny part is it's a Capcom game. They're Japanese. What?
They like particularly went out of their way to stereotype. There's stories behind this stuff. But yeah, they kind of nailed it. Yeah.
And, it's kind of funny how they, Guile is like an American, right? It's just absurd.
He's got an American flag tattooed onto his arm.
Yeah, if you can get past that brush haircut, like the American flag tattooed on his arm is pretty awesome.
And I wanted to throw it out, you know, just like that whole thing. I I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, but you know, at the end of the day, like you can pick a character that you can relate to, right? So like just as an example, if you are an Asian American and you want to play as somebody that, is supposed to represent a country, I feel like you'd find somebody that's a little bit more, relatable in Street Fighter. Like it's just a wider cast of people. So Mortal Kombat, like it's just monsters, it's like monsters and like, you get like a couple people, I guess. Yep.
Mortal Kombat is like what every like middle school on as much sugar as they possibly can get, would think of as a game. You got like fatalities, brutalities, animalities, babalities, and friendship again, and toasties, and like it's just such a vibe on its own. Like it's such a culture that goes along with it. It's so outrageous. It represents a time in history so well.
It's so great.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm just gonna wrap my X Factor up with. I feel like Street Fighter brings more people together, and especially in the arcade where you can play anybody, a stranger. I think it's just I don't know. I feel like it just does that better. So I went with Street Fighter on it.
Yeah, I kind of spoiled mine a little bit. I'm, tiebreaker here. But just that whole cultural thing around Mortal Kombat and the parents horrified by the idea of their kid playing this and it having its own holiday, which is Mortal Monday, and it's which is the day that it came to home consoles, and like how ridiculous the commercials are. If you go and watch the commercials for Mortal Kombat, in fact, Mortal Kombat 1 is like the new game Mortal Kombat 1, not Mortal Kombat 1 released in the 90s.
Stupid name.
Like Mortal Kombat 1 spelled with an O. The commercial is very much like the commercial that they used back in the day for the first Mortal Kombat release. Like they actually went out of their way to do like a similar kind of thing. Yeah, just that whole culture to me just really speaks to my childhood, even though I did not own a copy of Mortal Kombat. I actually owned Street Fighter. And I don't think that Street Fighter has that moment in history the way that Mortal Kombat does and will, as far as like setting the tone for the violence in video games argument. So because of that and because of the history and how much it makes me laugh, I have to give it to Mortal Kombat for the X Factor for me. Only because I really don't care much more than that about either of these two games.
Well, I mean, that's in America. I don't think that it was as pronounced in Japan, and I don't know much about Japan and Street Fighter's history, but I know they're big on it.
I'm an American, baby. See my American flag tattoo?
In his brush haircut. We should all dyed our hair blonde for this episode.
I thought about getting like a red bandana to tie around my head for this. I couldn't find anything in time, unfortunately. And by that, I mean like the last 5 minutes before signing on to the show, because that's how life is on Fridays.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are our votes. So shall we just move on to conclude this sucker?
Hell yeah.
Sounds good.
So, as is tradition, to wrap up our Colosseum episodes, we're going to tally up the vote. And Steve is our designated tallier because he's the only one I ever see taking notes. So, Steve, tell us who won this for the people at home who weren't paying attention.
All right. So, everybody on presentation voted for Mortal Kombat, which gives Mortal Kombat 1. Then on gameplay, everybody voted for Street Fighter 2, So that gives Street Fighter 1. On pacing, everybody gave it to Street Fighter 2. So that's 2 on Street Fighter 2. Playability, we all gave it to Street Fighter 2, which means Street Fighter 2 has 3. And then in X Factor, we were different. Dan and Don gave Mortal Kombat 3 their vote, and I went with Street Fighter 2. That means Mortal Kombat is 2, and Street Fighter 2 is 3. So Street Fighter is our winner!
Flawless victory. Perfect.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we thought, but what did you guys think? Our YouTube poll results were 67% for Street Fighter 2 and 33% for Mortal Kombat. So it sounds like we are about in line.
Yeah.
I mean, if we look at these votes, we all voted for Street Fighter the majority of the time, big time. There were only 5 votes total out of a possible 15 for Mortal Kombat. Oh, that actually does put it right in line, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly in line. Look at how good we are. We're sheeple, but I always wanted to be.
No, listen, it's that our listeners have such good opinions.
That's right. We're just sounding off about our listeners' good opinions. It's fantastic.
Exactly. Speaking of good opinions, please send them in, man.
Yeah, we got a Discord now. Exciting stuff.
Yep. So we're going to set aside these 2 games, set aside the declared winner of Street Fighter 2, and our next episode is going to be a Victory Road episode. Victory Road episodes we draw our games from a very small listener pool. So if you're listening to this and you didn't get to participate in this, just wait 2 episodes, and there will be another listener pool. And how many games do we have in this pool, Steve?
8.
We have 8 games in this pool, which means that if you were to submit a game to that pool, you'd have more than a 1 in 10 chance of having your game picked. What other podcast can you find that on?
Yeah.
So you should definitely keep an eye out for when we launch our next poll, so that you can send us your game for us to do an episode on.
Right on.
I'm not going to detract from the people who did submit games, so go ahead, Steve.
All right, here we go. Randomizing now. Looks like we're going to be playing an RPG.
Oh boy. I think I know what it is.
It was released on December.
It's like 5 RPGs in the list, Dan.
Hold on.
Of 2002.
Oh, I don't know what it is.
It was submitted by our friend, Hux, and it's on the GBA.
Oh.
We're going to be playing Mega Man Battle Network 3.
He's going to go.
I've been looking for the excuse to go back to this one.
He's going to go ecstatic when he hears this.
Yes.
He's going to pop out of his chair.
We have to decide who's playing white and who's playing blue.
I mean, there's only blue, right? Dan played white back in the day, but the folder back is so broken.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I'm going to play blue this time because like Dawn said, I had white when we were kids. So blue for me and white for you two.
Do you guys have the Legacy Collection?
I do, yes.
Oh, we should definitely do some net battling toward the end of our 2-week run here.
That could be fun, yeah.
Just for old time's sake. So, audience, if you're listening, try to find a way to play some Mega Man Battle Network 3. Like we said, there's a Legacy Collection out there, but emulation's always an option too. It's an excellent game series, and I think Mega Man Battle Network 2 or 3 are probably the best entry points for the series. You don't have to have played the previous games in order to enjoy it. My personal opinion is this is the best of the 6 games, easily. Although I think Steve likes 2 more, but they're very close.
Oh, just a little bit. I love them both.
3 is
Excellent
my favorite,
games.
but
I'm so excited.
3 was it was the first one I've actually played, so it's got like that little nostalgia hit for me. But like 2 is definitely good too. I went back and played 2. 2 is definitely good, but yeah, I'm excited to play
2
3.
was my first. Me too. Me 3.
3. The third. All right. What else do we have, fellas? Anything else?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it's just kind of like I wanted to make sure that everybody likes and subscribes if they haven't. And, you know, like everybody's been saying, the Discord's up. Very excited for anybody to come in. Send in your thoughts of anything, you know.
Right.
But any support that you guys want to send us is highly appreciated.
Yeah, I'm such a crappy podcaster. I always forget this part. Thank you for reminding me. So, yeah, thank you to our listeners. Thank you for the folks who have joined our Discord. If you want to keep helping us out, the next logical thing I think would be to head on over to another podcast platform of your choice and leave us a kind rating or review. Really helps the show get discovered in other algorithms. So, yeah, our goal is to grow this community and let's get a bunch of people together who like playing games to talk and share news and memes and everything else.
Yeah, and play Mortal Kombat 3 with each other.
Yeah. I want to get to that point where, we're actually playing games with our viewers. I'm actually really excited for that. Just don't be afraid to leave comments anywhere, like whether it be YouTube, Spotify, Discord, whatever. Like Don was saying, it really helps out the algorithm if you actually interact with those platforms. So, don't hesitate. We're nice people over here. Mostly.
At the risk of sounding more desperate, game over, fellas?
Game over.
Game over.
Die, monster. You don't belong in this world.